What were the conditions like, Andy? It looked like quite a tricky wind from one end or both ends.
Yeah, it was tough because obviously the ball travels through there pretty quick here, and then it was very windy, so blowing from the end we walk onto the court from, you were playing into the wind, and it's such a huge contrast from one end to the other because of how the air is here. So when you're playing with the wind, it's really flying on you, and you feel like if you barely touch the ball, it's flying a lot. And then from the other side, it's completely opposite. You really need to give the ball a big hit to get it deep. And yeah, there's much different conditions to what I've obviously been practicing in and playing in the last 5 weeks against, tough, sort of unorthodox player. He's got quite a different game, and he's a very smart player as well, intelligent player, and often makes the right decisions, and made it tough for me.
In respect to the climatic conditions, is this the most difficult place to play tennis?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the quality, I mean, I guess for everyone it's different. I mean, obviously I haven't necessarily played my best here over the years, but I think because the conditions are extremely lively and the balls here are so fast that I don't know. Maybe the quality of tennis isn't as high as it is in other places when it's a bit it's a bit slower. I think when the conditions are calm, I think the quality of tennis is high, but when it gets windy here, it can be difficult to play really well. I think it does make it challenging.
A little bit of a different question, Andy. In Melbourne, you spoke out on issues relating to gambling, and the other day you spoke your mind pretty courageously, some would say, about the situation with drugs. Could you just, I don't know, we know your mom speaks her mind, we know that you've spoken out on issues in Great Britain. Does it give you satisfaction just to speak what you feel is your own views, your own wisdom, and where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it's if there's something that I care about, then I actually spend a lot of time researching and reading about it, and feel like I have strong opinions on those things. It's something I really care about. When there isn't, then I'll say like I don't really know, or I don't have an opinion on it. But yeah, I don't know exactly why that is. I don't. Yeah, I don't mean the things that I spoke about this year. I think they're huge, sort of huge stories, but also it's so important to keep the sport's sort of integrity. By when there is an issue, you have to address it immediately, and you don't just let it sort of get a little bit worse over time until it becomes just a huge thing, and the whole sport is riddled with, whether it's gambling or doping or whatever, and you need to address it immediately. And I think unless people speak out about it and talk about it, then that's kind of what happens. So I try to speak my mind on those things.
I'm no expert on it, but were you pleased or satisfied with the way your mom just navigated through the traditions and British tennis and the different associations? Was that something that gave you satisfaction?
Yeah, obviously so. Like, my mum, whether she's good at what she does or not, I'm obviously going to be biased, so not the best person to ask, but I do know she always worked incredibly hard in all of the jobs that she did, and I could get up at any time of the night and she was so often like on her emails and working at 3, 4 in the morning. She didn't sleep much, and she's quite sort of stressed out in general because of that. But she does work extremely hard, and she really, really cares about British tennis. So when something is not being done properly or correctly, then she will speak out on that. And I think she knows, because she's seen she's seen the sort of grassroots stuff, and she's also now been around the top of the game as well and seen all different parts of it. So she has a pretty, I think, good view on things, and I think she's done a lot of good for British tennis, in my opinion.
And a completely random question, but we know some players are really into having a collaboration with a brand, but what they wear, the styles, the colors. I was just wondering, since you've signed with Under Armour, have you asked them specifics? Because I know you're wearing a lot of black and white since you've started with them. Have you told them no colors or anything?
No, that's actually more their decision. To be honest, for me, I'm more interested in the performance of the clothes, and like the sort of the undergarments that we wear, the compression stuff that they have is fantastic and really, really good. And when I've met with them and spoken to them also about the shoes, it was all about performance, and that was the thing that I've really liked about working with them, is that they were more into that side of things than necessarily like the design of the clothes and how it looked and stuff. I think the clothes look very solid, but they're quite different to what a lot of the other companies are like, and they do focus more on the way the clothes perform, and I like it.
I know you're a boxing fan. I don't know if you had a chance to see Mike Tyson. He's on grounds today. I guess he'll be this weekend. Were you a big Tyson fan? And also, if you wouldn't mind giving your thoughts on the Bradley Pacquiao and the Amir Khan's Canelo Alvarez fight, your thoughts on those as well?
I think the Khan Alvarez fight is incredibly. I think it's a huge decision for him. I think to take that fight, it'll be, he goes in, I think, as a huge underdog. Stepping up a couple of weights against a young guy who, has only lost once against, Mayweather. I think be a very, very tough fight for him to win, but he obviously believes in himself. Otherwise, I don't know why he would have taken that fight. I didn't see Mike Tyson on the grounds. I wasn't actually aware that he was here, but he was obviously a very dangerous guy in the ring, and extremely I think intimidating for his opponents. I was obviously very young when he was fighting, but I saw a couple of his fights towards the latter stage of his career. And then the other one you asked me was Bradley and Pacquiao. That'll be an interesting fight. I think first time he fought was obviously close, and maybe the wrong decision. But I think likely to be Pacquiao's last fight. I think there's been quite a lot of rumours of him retiring, so I guess when someone's made their mind up to retire, you never know where they're going to be at mentally, so it'll be a good fight.
And you just mentioned, you just mentioned your clothing endorsements. Do you see yourself at all as a brand because of the various endorsements that you might have?
I don't really know exactly what that means exactly. But no, I don't think so. I've never really thought of it like that. A lot of the times when I was younger and I would go into meetings and management companies and stuff, they always kind of talked about sort of building a brand. Wasn't so much something that I was that interested in, really.
Last two questions, Ellie.
I believe I read that you brought Jamie Delgado onto your coaching team. Is that correct? I was wondering what benefits you're hoping to get out of that, and if you've seen those benefits yet. I know it's early days, but.
Well, there was a number of reasons. I wanted to have a coach spend a lot of time with me on the road who was basically at all of the tournaments with me. Obviously last year with Amelie and Jonas, they're splitting a lot of the time, and I wasn't really having any real continuity on the coaching side, because it was sort of 2 weeks with one week with the other, then maybe a week of training in London on my own, and I didn't have anyone in London where I live, and having someone like Jamie who is like 20 minutes up the road from me, it just means that every time I'm home and I'm training, obviously now having a kid and probably spending more time at home, it's good for me to have someone like him around 35-40 weeks of the year to have that continuity. Also think he's done a very good job in his other coaching role that he had with Gio Muller. I think he did very well there. He still hits well, and he was a very good player himself. He's been around the sort of the tour for a long time, really, since he was like 18 years old. He was very good at a young age, so never quite broke through as a professional, but he was always around the Challenger Tour and close to the tour level, so he's got a lot of experience.
Last two comments.
And you watch a lot of tennis. Do you have any explanation for why the men's matches often tend to fall off long, but on the women's side it looks like
I don't know if it does. I think there's maybe a few more upsets in the women's just now, but I think that happens on the men's, like before with players like Graf and Sellers.
I mean at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, I think it's just a little bit more open. I mean, Serena's obviously done loads of winning over the last few years, and hasn't been too many upsets with her, but barring the last couple of slams, obviously. I think for men, because it's easier to hold serve, because the serve's more powerful, that when you're in a leading position, it's easier to serve a set because of that. Obviously, when you get nervous, maybe at the end of a set, and you're not getting 3 points, and you're having to hit 5 or 6 shots, that makes it harder, for sure. But I think that's probably the reason, because it's it's a little bit easier to serve out matches and serve out sets as a guy. But and right now, I think the reason there's maybe a few more upsets is because the level's more similar. I think the top few players on the men's side have been winning a majority of the tournaments for quite a long time, and in the women's, when Serena's not playing, it's a bit more open.
Last one.
Andy, obviously Roger's not here. He's been so durable and usually around, and it's the first time for a few weeks he's not really going to be on the tour. And just wondering if he's got such a big presence in the game in so many different ways, if you feel that lack of his presence here in any way, or if you're just doing your own thing.
I think tournaments obviously miss it when he's not there. I mean, he's played great tennis here over the years. As a player, I mean, most of the tournaments that I played during the year, he's there, but there's also, probably half of them where he isn't that I play. So it's not for me. I'm used to playing tournaments when he isn't around. I do think he will recover well, because I think he's been very intelligent over the years with his scheduling and looking after his body, and I think by the looks of things, I've seen some videos of him hitting a few balls and heard that he'd been practicing for a little while already, but smart to give himself the time to recover, and I'm sure he'll be fine. But yeah, I think all tournaments when he's not there miss him, because the fans love watching him. He normally is in the latter stages of the events and tends to play exciting matches with the best players as well, so it's tough for the tournament when he's not here.